Lynn Pinugu is the CEO and co-founder of She Talks Asia and Mano Amiga. She is also an educator, social entrepreneur, international speaker, and advocacy communications expert. Her willingness to give back, eagerness to do good, and ability to persevere are just some of the many factors that make her the leader that she is today.
And hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of In Love With Me series, where we feature inspiring individuals who share their amazing stories. I'm your host, Mafae Velasco, and for this series, our topic is Leaders of Today. You know, the world is filled with so many leaders, game changers of all ages and backgrounds. This season, we aim to highlight people who make a positive impact in the world around them through their actions and words. So for today's guest, I am truly excited because I have been admiring this woman for quite a while now, and she is a beautiful and inspiring individual who continuously changes the game in every way possible. I truly believe she is a mover and shaker that needs to be shared with the world. So as you heard earlier, Lynn is the CEO and co-founder of She Talks Asia, educator, social entrepreneur, international speaker, and advocacy communications expert. She also aims to lead others to become their best selves by serving as an example in her respective fields. And this is what makes her the leader that she is today. So without further ado, let me welcome to the studio, Lynn Pinugu. Hello, Lynn. All
Hey,
the way
Mafae.
in beautiful nature. I'm so jelly, but I'm so glad that
I
you're able to
know.
share the energy right now with us.
Thank you. I said a prayer before the show to make sure my internet connection holds up, and so far it's been cooperating. Really excited. Thanks so
Yes,
much, Mafae, for having
of
me today.
course. Of course. My gosh. We've known each other for years, as in years, and you've already inspired so many when I first met you, and that was back in Everest, and I think that was the
Mhm.
time that you were starting um, Mano Amiga. But before I
Mhm.
ask you about that, and before we super catch up, please share with everyone on your journey as an educator, because that is, for me, I'm always inspired by people who love to share knowledge.
Right. So I originally did not set out to be an educator. In fact, my original dream was to be a journalist because, I love the power of stories. I love how it raises awareness. It also um, builds empathy because you tend to now understand, right, what another person is going through. So I originally set out to be a journalist. When I was in university, however, when I was in sophomore year, my parents underwent a financial challenge, and because of that, there was a possibility that I wouldn't have been able to finish school in my university. Now, at that time, there was a scholarship. You have to write an essay, and if your essay gets chosen, you will receive a scholarship. This was open to budding or young journalists, and I joined and I won. And I remember thinking to myself then, I was, I think, 17 or 18, that, when I graduate, I want to be able to do something so that I can make the same opportunity available for other kids. Because I was very well aware that, the reason why I won was because I could write well, but there's so many kids who also deserve a good education, but they don't have, the proper talent in writing or the proper fundamentals, right? So I still wanted to pursue journalism. I had internship in different publications, but I felt that my heart was really being drawn more to community service. And I left for Mexico. I stayed there for about a year and 2 months. and I was there as a youth missionary. And when I was there, that's where I first encountered this school called Mano Miga, which means helping hand in Spanish. And I saw how, even though this was a school for, disenfranchised kids and children really from very low income communities, because of education, they were confident. Spanish is their main language, but they were all confidently speaking to me in English. And I just realized, that's a project that I would love to work on and help bring to the country. So how the way we put up Mano Miga, since I didn't have any background in education, obviously I had to hire a team that were really traditional educators. But at the same time, I remember I would spend every night, just reading different education journals. I was reading different education theories and, different innovations also. And I think my advantage that because I wasn't trained as an educator, I became more open to trying out different things to see what would work. So that really has been my journey. It started as me just wanting to try to bring, this beautiful education programs for children who can't afford it, and how do we give them the same opportunity? How can we give them a limitless future, even if maybe they didn't have such a good start in life?
That's why I'm sharing you with the world, because it is your story and your humble beginnings that really goes to show why you're doing what you're doing. And that's who I want to surround myself with, because it's like-minded people that really want to be at service for others, right? And that makes you even more happy, because serving others and seeing them glow with joy because of the resources that we share with them. And like you mentioned, there's a lot of children here that cannot afford
Right.
to get education, and thanks to you and Mana Amiga for providing that. You are definitely doing the work, because I was really happy to be part of your collaboration that we just did during this pandemic. Everything is possible. So if anybody out there is inspired by Lynn's story and also want to know more about Mana Amiga, please do reach out to her. And I will allow Lynn to invite you to where you can find them. But leading up to storytelling, you said that you always want to be a journalist. So does that mean this is the reason why She Talks was born?
Definitely. When the original concept for She Talks Asia was this desire to put up this conference wherein we can expose girls and young women to inspiring female role models. This was in 2017. And at the time, the talk about around women empowerment wasn't as big as it is now. And we just wanted to create this event wherein the community can come together, right? And you basically hear stories from women who have undergone their own journeys and how that shaped them. Again, the power of stories. My co-founders and I, at the time, there was just three of us: me, Vicky Herrera, and Sarah Meyer. We really felt that our strength was putting together in the same room, women who would not normally be able to interact with each other because they come from different fields. And it was just so enriching, to see the different insights and lessons that were exchanged. These were women and girls with different ages from different backgrounds, but also to hear them clamor for more. So from that one-off event, She Talks Asia has evolved into this online community where, as you had mentioned, we really feature stories of different women. And we're now 5 in She Talks Asia, and we don't always see eye to eye because we all have, different opinions and we all come from different backgrounds. But I think what really the strength of the group and the strength of the community is that there's willingness to listen, right? And there's that desire to understand where another person is coming from, because there's a tendency, even if the world is now limitless because of internet, right? Like I can reach to we're doing this call now, right? Because of this limitless nature. But but we also have this tendency to stick to the people that we know, or to stick to people who share our opinion. And unfortunately, that leads to this very singular way of thinking. And we really want to break that in She Talks through stories. We want to expose our community to, again, women who may not necessarily come from the same background as you are, who may not necessarily share your opinion. But again, what matters for us is that you understand their story, and that we could all work together towards, creating or helping shape this world wherein women really have an equal seat at the table, rather than a token definition of women empowerment.
No, I truly have so much respect for She Talks. And of course, shout out to Sarah and Vicky, also my fellow sisters that I've, really looked up to, or just being, in their company and just enjoying different conversations. And I could already imagine how your conversations are. And up until this day, it truly shows that you, the five of you, reinvent yourselves. And that's what makes it more, I believe, a stronger campaign, is that all walks of life or different backgrounds can be inspired by each other.
Right.
And I'll talk to you offline about that, because I've always reached out to Sarah and Vicky about, hey, how can I join you guys in She Talks? But I guess I'll just talk to you, Lynn, for now. But having said that, it is definitely so inspiring how you can share your journey now. And it's the power of story is really what people can imagine of what you went through. And where you are now, young girls, I'm sure, are asking, okay, Lynn has it all together. She has it all put together. She's an international speaker. She is doing so many give backs. And I'm sure there were challenges along the way. So what is the biggest challenge that you've ever experienced during this journey, through career, maybe personal?
Right.
Please share with us and how you overcame that.
When I was younger, definitely the biggest challenge was getting Mano Amiga started, right? I think the biggest lesson I can share with everyone is that really now, when you read stories about Mano Amiga or about me, what people really see are just the highlights. But people don't usually, or these articles don't usually cover the long hours you put in, the many heartbreaks that you experience, because there were a lot of people who said no to the idea. Or even that constant pressure of meeting fundraising targets, for example, because you're always burdened with a worry that if you don't meet your target, there are some kids who won't be able to go to school. I think my biggest challenge when I was young was really, how do I make sure that I stick to this idea even when it wasn't, getting news coverage, when people weren't so supportive of it. And to me, how I overcame that was really, I had to constantly ask myself, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for external validation? Or am I doing this because I believe that Mano Amiga has the capacity to transform a child's life? And by constantly reminding myself of that why, I was able to really, I guess, I found the resilience to keep going even when it was really tough. Now that I'm older, I think my biggest challenge would be, how do I make sure that I also really build an organization that's not solely dependent on me, right? Because again, I'm the face of Mano Amiga because I'm the one who's been the organization since the beginning. But now that we're growing, I need to recognize that I can't do everything anymore compared to before, wherein we're just, a small school and a small foundation. And that means having the humility to look internally and say, okay, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, and how do I find people who can complement me in those areas, so that I could really make sure that I could build a team that could elevate or constantly innovate and make sure that Mano Amiga is able to face today's challenges. And I think same goes for She Talks. I think the challenge of being leaders sometimes is that you're surrounded by people who will just say yes to you, right? Because you're on top. And I think the most important thing is, how do you create a culture wherein people will be able to give you feedback in a way that's honest and authentic. And I think it's more than the people, it's really you, because the way you welcome these comments, or the way you welcome these observations, how you deal with people, for example, when they make a mistake, that all goes into creating this culture of openness, and again, bringing it back to the mission rather than it being egocentric. Easier said than done. Humility is a very difficult virtue, right? So it is something that I try to constantly work on. And I guess, like, just like with anything, um, I'm often asked, how do you, like, keep going even at this time where it's more challenges than it is, it's not always rewarding, right? And I guess it's also managing your expectations when you pursue something worthwhile. Trust that it's not going to be easy. There are times when you really feel very fulfilled and rewarding, but most of the time you'll really feel difficulty, because again, if it's something that's easy, a lot of people would have done it too. So I guess, again, going back to your mission, going back to the values that you stand for, that always helps, in terms of overcoming whatever challenges that you face.
And having said all of that, I know that there are mentors, or there are people that you have been inspired with. Perhaps you can share with us so that we know who to seek help from also. Because I learned that to be truly courageous, or to have courage in your life, is to put your hand up and really seek
Right.
for help, or even just researching, right? So maybe Lynn, you can share with us your I guess, inspiring heroes, or people that you're inspired with, as well as resources that we can check out.
Right. Well, when I was for Mano Amiga, which was very crucial for me to have the support of my board members. They are much older than me, and they're heads of their companies, or they've already retired. So obviously they've done that journey, and they can give you that wisdom and perspective. In terms of my most recent mentors, one of my dearest friends, her name is Michelle. She also heads her own company. She's a brand strategist. And I only met her because we were sitting next to each other in a conference. And when we spoke to each other, she fell in love with the idea of Mano Amiga, and she said, how can I help? And I guess, and we've been good friends, and she's been such a great mentor to me ever since. And I guess, to me, what if there's anything I've learned from that, is to never be afraid to share your story, right? Because sometimes we're shy to share our ideas, or as you said, we're shy to ask for help. But I think people really see authenticity. People see passion. So if that's something that they recognize in you, then they would be happy to help or connect you to other people who can. Now, one of the things that I really pursue also is finding these professional communities, where I can find other founders or other leaders who might be going through the same thing I am. So I was very fortunate, for example, to be part of Global Shapers from the World Economic Forum, Asia Societies, Asia 21 Leaders, and most recently, I became part of the Obama Leader Network under the Obama Foundation. And how do you become part of it? You just keep looking online, keep researching. And in fact, it was my co-founder in She Talks, Sarah, who first shared this open call for applications to me. And in the beginning, I was a bit hesitant to apply, but then I realized, I can just apply, and if I don't get it, I don't lose anything, right? So again, it's having that courage to put yourself out there. And I'm so blessed to be part of these programs, because not all of my friends understand what I'm going through, right? Because when you don't meet your target in a company, you might get a bad review. In my case, if I don't meet my targets, there's a chance we will close the school, or some programs might not be able to push through. So it was nice to meet leaders who are also undergoing the same emotional burden of building a team, of trying to push an idea forward that's not profitable, but that's not always profitable. And I guess having that support system really helped me, because again, you get to learn from your peers, right? You get to learn from their experiences. So I think that's another lesson I could share. Sometimes we always look for someone older, right, to be our mentor, but actually your peers could be valuable sources of knowledge and wisdom as well. And it's just a matter of, again, being vulnerable, really sharing with them, because I think sometimes we have this tendency of trying to appear as if everything is okay all the time. I'm still guilty of that because in your head nobody wants to hear my problems or the challenges that I'm going through, but if there's anything I learned, it's that everyone is willing to help, except that sometimes they don't know how, right? So yeah, just having the courage to be vulnerable, I think, is super important.
And it's also a form of cleansing when you find that person that you trust, or even recording yourself just to vent it out. It's like you spoke to somebody. It's really you're speaking to yourself, because I practice attitude of gratitude, and sometimes, and this is something that I've spoken about with some of the people that I mentor, that they don't have time to write or whatever. But really, it's really up to us to make time, right?
Correct,
so I would always
correct.
find the answer. I said, okay, you know what? Sometimes I record myself, so that later on I'll listen to it and then I'll write it down. So that might be some kind of tactic or advice for everybody listening right now, because we need to let our feelings out, guys. If we
Right.
hold it in, we're the only ones that's gonna get hurt, whether good or bad. Like, let it out,
I
and it's always
remember
nice.
Yeah, I remember when I was going through this terrible heartbreak.
Mm.
And it was also a time wherein Mano Amiga was trying to raise funds to build a new campus. So, I didn't have the luxury of unraveling. But I remember
Right.
I was in this trip. It was a city that reminded me of that person. So I just kept recording voice notes to him and to myself on my phone. After a few months, I forgot about it. When I changed phones, I think my phone, because everything's in the cloud now, started
Yes.
downloading to my new device, like the things that I recorded, and I listened to them again. And I was just laughing so hard because, the things seem so big at the time, but
Right.
after a few months, or with time, everything heals, right? And everything just is you're just able to put things into perspective. But yes, you're right, it really made me feel better. And I should do that more often, actually.
Yes. We're only human. We have feelings. So it's okay if you feel not okay that day. Just let it be. Because sometimes when we force the issue or force things to happen, that's when we get hurt. And the results aren't what we always expect. So I think we
Right.
just have to let it be, just cry it out, do voice notes like Lynn did, and then just let it and let go, because life goes on. And of course, Lynn's here, I'm here. If ever you guys are feeling some sort of way or just need that extra support, She Talks, I know, has amazing content, and you have been doing a lot of talks lately. I know I've caught some online. And do you have anything else upcoming apart from what we have here?
Well, for She Talks Asia, we try to do what we call Instagram Live, or Talk Thursdays Live. Sorry, it's called Talk Thursdays Live. We do it via Instagram, and we really just try to feature real conversations. One of the things that we want to focus on in the coming months would be aging, and how, for women, aging is such a scary concept. Whether it's because the physical changes that your body is going through, or even just the way society treats older women. So we hope to be able to help change that conversation, and to really raise awareness about, aging shouldn't be something women are afraid of. What are the different, narratives that we need to change also about aging women? Like, for example, like how we always, like, I'm guilty of this, but I always take pleasure when someone says I'm younger. I look much younger than my age, right? And I mean, yes, it's nice, but I always ask myself, okay, why do I enjoy that compliment so much, right? It's because, like when you talk about when you think of an older woman, there's always the image of a crone, right? Like, or a witch, right? That's how they present older women, whereas men are bachelors, right? They're revered for aging. So we want to be able to change that conversation and really ask ourselves, okay, what led to this kind of perception about aging, and how do we make sure we reclaim it and we really see aging as a beautiful part of the process? Because if you tell me tomorrow that I have the opportunity to go back to my 25-year-old self, I no way, because I remember how I was like at that age. And even if I already had Mano Amiga, I was still all over the place, right? So
Right.
I appreciate what I have now, which is I'm very secure with who I am. I know what I stand for, and every time I go through something bad, I feel like I also have the more maturity to process my emotions and feelings, something I didn't have when I was younger. So yes, no, I will not go back to my 25-year-old self. I really welcome the wisdom and the sense of security that comes with growing older. So yes, you could look out for those conversations and events that we'll be having in the next months. Yeah. For Manu Miga, definitely, if you're looking for ways to help, we're always looking for people, to sponsor a child, because as you know, because of the pandemic, really it has made even more difficult for children from poor families to learn. It starts, with rich kids have access to the best home environment. They have a fast internet connection, and children from low income families, they're forced to quarantine in a small area where it's hot. There's no aircon, and they're stuck there. They're stuck inside all the time, right? And they don't have fast internet connection. So if that's something also that resonates with you and you want to help, create campaigns to sponsor a child or create fun virtual events, which is something that Mafae has been doing for Mano Miga, I would also be more than happy to chat with you about that and to see how we could collaborate.
Yes, please do, guys. Lynn here is an amazing woman who is leading Mano Miga and also empowering others. And, it definitely goes to show why she is the leader today. And as you know, our topic is leadership. So, what is leadership to you, Lynn?
So to me, I love this question, by the way, because I'm often asked this, but to me, leadership is being able to use your unique capacity to make a difference in the world. And leadership, it's not something that you have to study for, although of course knowing those principles help. But to me, it always starts by looking inward and asking yourself, okay, what are my unique experiences? What are my unique perspectives? What are my unique strengths? And how can I use all of that to see how I can contribute positively to the world? When we think of leaders, sometimes we think of people with large platforms. But you know what? Every one of us has a platform, because each one of us has this sphere of influence, right? Every person you meet is someone that you can influence. And being a leader is someone who's conscious of that and who tries to make sure that whenever you do something or say something, you know that you can have an impact on someone. So how do you now use that power to make sure that you're shaping the world for betterment rather than contributing to all the negativity or the lack of kindness that could happen at times. So leadership, it's a moment-to-moment choice. I shared this recently in the event that again, it doesn't just happen in the big moments of your life, right? It doesn't just happen when you're leading a company, but it starts the moment you wake up until you go to bed. The choices that you make reflect the kind of leader that you are.
Yes. And if you didn't catch that, guys, rewind that, record it, and have it in your phone. But
Record
thank
it
you,
in your
Lynn.
voice notes.
Yes, repeat what Lynn said because it is definitely a moment to moment decision, and we all have a choice, right? And I'm so happy to spend this afternoon with you, Lynn, and happy Social Media Day. Thank you to for being part of this show, and our campaign is always hashtag Save Lives Online, and that's the reason why I do what I do, and I'm sure that is the reason why Lynn does what she does and sharing positive content online. So, guys, think before you click and make sure that it is saving a life at the same time. And if you're having an off day, just record yourself and then upload post it. Just vent. But Lynn, I have something fun before I say see you later, just to lighten things up. I was inspired by the Strengths Finder book. I don't know if you've read that yet, but basically it's just getting to know you more and getting to know your perhaps things that will surprise everyone. So I changed it
Oh,
up, and it's called Finding Your Strengths. So it's just like a quick
okay.
game.
All
All
right.
right. So I'll just ask you a few questions, and whatever comes up in your mind or in your thoughts, just share it. All right. So first question is, what's your hidden talent?
Oh, dancing. Not sure if that's so hidden, but yes, I like to dance. I also have a way of connecting with animals, all kinds of animals.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I think I could have been a vet if
Yes.
if I hadn't become an educator. But you know what? It's not too late. Maybe that'll be my next career.
Yeah, I never know. Well, you can still do it. You're in nature, so
That's
I'm
true.
sure. All right, next. What's your favorite word?
Ah,
No, right? So many.
okay. I know I have so many, but the first word that came to mind when you said it, it is a word called. Well, it's not called. The word is palpable, and it's just
Mm.
something concrete, right? I don't know why I really like it. I think every time I say it, I really feel like I can touch it. So I love words that are very onomatopoeic. Like they
Mm.
sound, the way they sound really brings up imagery that's related to what it is. So yes, I love the word palpable.
Of
I'm
course,
such a,
of
I'm
course.
such a
A
nerd. I'm
journalist,
sorry.
educator will share a word, and I'm like, oh, I need to go check the dictionary now. But thank you for that. All right. So, what would be your favorite color?
I love sea green, and because it really reminds me of the ocean. And the
Mm.
reason why that's my favorite color is I think, I almost drowned in La Union, actually, where I am in now. I almost drowned in sea, and drowned at sea. In
Mm-hmm.
sea? At sea. But but there was a time when I was really afraid of, going underwater or even being
Mm-hmm.
alone in the ocean. But yeah, it has become such a meditative experience for me. I took up diving even though I'm afraid of it, and to be underwater really feels like you're flying. So underneath everything is sea green. So whenever I see that color, I'm just reminded of that feeling of being in this other world and having the chance to explore that.
So this is the honest truth. When you said the color, I thought you were
Uh-huh.
going to say blue because of the ocean. And you
Right.
said sea green. And I was just like, oh my gosh, we're so aligned. I can feel your energy right now. But yes, amazing. All right. So where am I at? So what's one thing that you wouldn't change about yourself?
I think I'm very upbeat and optimistic. I always see the good side, the good thing, and yeah, the good side of everyone. I always see also the positive thing in any situation. I see failures as opportunity for learning. Yeah, that's, I guess, that sense of wonder and also gratitude, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is also rooted because I'm a person of faith,
Yes.
and that's something that I really try to live. So definitely,
Mm-hmm.
that's not something I would change. And in fact, hopefully, I I'm able to hold on to it even as I get older, and I'm exposed more to the difficulties in the world.
Adulting is real.
I know.
But it's fun when you're with fun people around you. So
That's
that's
true.
always cute.
That's why I have a school, because you hang out with kids. It's easier to
Mhm.
maintain that sense of wonder.
Yes. And lastly, if you were not an educator or an entrepreneur, what would you be?
Oh, so yes, a vet. I would love
Yeah,
to work with
you answered that.
animals. Yeah, I would also, yeah, I would love to be a vet. I want to work with, carabaos, maybe whales. Well, I don't know if they need doctors, but yeah, definitely something that involves animals. But my dream is, to be honest, I just want a small cottage in the forest, and also maybe just have some time to write children's stories, because again, being an educator exposes you to how children think, what makes their eyes light up, and maybe someday I'll be able to write children's stories that that make them come alive, or make reading come alive for them.
Well, you just manifested that and you said it out loud to the world. So it's going to happen. That's how it works,
Yes,
doesn't it?
I'll be a writer vet, maybe in 5 years.
Yes. I'm going to visit you in the beach and you're going to have all these whales everywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh. But anywho, Lynn, I enjoyed the afternoon with you. So please invite everyone how they can find you, and you may plug anything that you have ongoing.
Right. So yeah, so you may reach out to me via Lynn Pinugu if there's any project that you want to work on, either for Mano Amiga or for She Talks Asia. Our handle for She Talks Asia is at She Talks Asia. For Mano Amiga, it's at Mano Amiga PH. And again, if there is anything I want to raise awareness on, is that a lot of people need our help. So I know the pandemic and the lockdown has been going on for more than a year. And for a lot of us, we're tired of helping, right? Because we already feel that fatigue. But know that a lot of communities still need our help. If you're interested in helping send children to school, do reach out to us at Mano Amiga. And please also, follow our stories in She Talks Asia.
Yes, yes, yes. I will be putting my alarm on for those Tuesdays, honest conversation, guys. And thank you, everyone who's tuned in on Kumu, on Facebook, on Spotify, and our YouTube channel. We have reached the end of our show, and I would like to thank you, Lynn, for joining. And we'll talk again soon. But guys, don't forget to also follow our social media, In Love With Me series, and of course, Mafae Management. And turn on your notification bells so you can get the ring, or the, what do you call that? The ding on your phone so that you know that there's a live going on. And also, I am honored to be able to share the journey of how life is truly a blessing. So thank you, everyone. Don't forget to do your gratitude daily. It's just a simple saying thank you for what you have or what you're blessed with, and continue to serve others with your own story. And be proud of sharing your story, just like what Lynn did today. And of course, don't forget, actions speak louder than words. And thank you for tuning in this episode of In Love With Me. Thank you, Lynn.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Mafe.